this lesson you're going to learn how to do leads, kind of making up your own leads. It's improvising, which probably most of you guys know just as soloing, right? That's the most common way of playing a lead or writing a lead. Improvising is when you're doing a solo. So to do a solo, now although there's a lot of similarities and a lot of differences in between people's solos, right? The majority of the solos are all coming from the same scale, and it's the pentatonic scale. Now, if you don't know the pentatonic scale, this is not going to be a lesson for you to learn it. We actually have it on the website. It's going to be in text form. Get at least pattern 1 memorized before you come to this lesson, because we're going to deal with mostly just pattern 1, but you should be familiar with all 5. Then you can make up solo all over the neck. Okay? But like I said, for this first lesson, the majority of it I'm going to speak just solely on position 1. So hope we all know the position. Let's maybe play it all together on the 5th fret, maybe. Pentatonic scale, position 1. All right. Now, and for this segment of the lesson, I think I'm going to call on an awesome guitar player too. We got Ashley Rowley coming on. Come on. Because whenever you're soloing, what you need somebody accompanying, right? Or else it's not going to sound like much of a solo. So I think what we're going to do first is we'll just do maybe a blues in A, right? Now, again, hopefully at this point you actually know where to find the A on the 6th string, right? If you don't, again, go back to the website and you can find some information there, right? But I'm going to find that on the 5th fret. Now, maybe let's talk about some things that are common things that make a solo sound good, right? If I don't vary the rhythm at all, right, it's not going to sound that great. If we try it out, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you see how without rhythmic variation, it doesn't sound that great. So it's like a solo is kind of like a sentence, right? You need to put pauses in it. You need to put a period. You have different phrases and everything. So maybe what you want to do is you want to mess around with the notes, but you want to actually sort of put some pauses in, speed up, slow down, and so on, right? Let's maybe try one like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you see how there, again, I'm still picking probably some of the same notes, but I'm just varying the rhythm up a little bit. Something like that makes a big difference between a good and not so great solo. So the other thing, as you can see there, I wasn't just playing just the notes in the pentatonic scale in order, right? If I did that, it's just going to sound like a pentatonic scale and it doesn't sound so original, right? So if we try that again, 2, 3, 4. So you see what I did there is I just played the pentatonic scale up and down. It doesn't have any variation, right? So what you need to do is take the notes from the pentatonic scale and mix them up a little bit. So don't be afraid to stay on the same string for a few seconds and maybe even a half a minute or something, right? And don't be afraid of playing the same note twice or 10, 20 times in a row, right? So why don't we I'm going to show you what a solo is going to sound like on just 2 strings, 4 notes, right? And just mixing it up a little bit, okay? 2, 3, 4. Repeating a lot of notes. Okay, so you see again, those were just 4 notes that all I did is I did a lot of repetition, and I also went back and forth in between just those 4 notes. So don't always feel like you have to be moving around a lot, right? Here's another thing that doesn't sound that great too. If we try it one more time, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so do you see what I'm doing there is I'm doing a lot of big jumps. The majority of a good solo is actually just stepwise. So that just means if I'm, say, on the 5th fret here, on the 6th string, I'm maybe going to go to this pinky rather than do a huge jump onto the 1st string, right? Okay, so those are some common things that you want to sort of watch when you're soloing. The other things too is maybe some techniques, right? And I'd hope that you know some by now, right? We're going to have, say, bends, as well as hammer-ons, pull-offs, and slides. So these are just a few little techniques that you can add in. And then if you start using all these little techniques and putting it all together, you're going to get a really nice solo. So, as I was saying, you can use any note from the pentatonic scale, right? Now, the hardest part, though, is to figure out where to start the pentatonic scale. So that's what we're going to talk about now. Now, remember I was telling you that we're going to do a blues in A. And the reason why we're doing it blues in A is because you see both of us, we have this chord, right? You always have to look at the first chord, and if that will work probably about 90% of the time. Look at the first chord, that's what key it's going to be in, which means that's where you're going to start your pentatonic scale. So, if you look at both of our chords, right? It's like an A power chord. You see how we have the lowest note is the A. So what I'm going to do, again, is on the 6th string, find an A. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, and I start. Had we maybe started the blues on an E, right? Say this is our first chord. You see the lowest note, the root, is the E. So what I'd do is I'd find an E, and let's not take the open note, so E, F, F sharp, G, all the way up to the E here, and I'm going to start here. So again, 90% of the time, it's going to be starting on the first chord. So if we maybe try a different song, let's try a song with A minor, C, G, and E minor. So if we did A minor, G, E major, what we have our first chord, like I mentioned, is an A minor. So again, I'm going to start on the same chord, right? Or the same fret. I'm going to find the A on the 6th string, and I'm going to start there. So if we try that, you're going to see that that's going to sound good too. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so again, the reason why that sounds good is because the first chord was an A, and then so I went to the A and I played it and it was great, right? And so say if we tried another one, maybe starting on E minor, and then maybe C, G, G. So we'd have E minor, C, G. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see there, what we did, again, the first chord was an E minor, right? So what I did is I found my E on the 6th string. Again, let's not use the open string and confuse things with the open string. So I counted all the way up to the 12th fret, which was the E, and I started there. So again, what you need to always try to find is the root, the lowest note. Try it out. Hopefully it's going to sound good. Sometimes it won't, and what you have to do is try to do it by ear unless you really know the theory, right? Now, the only time that this is not going to work is in a major key. So you see what we've done here is we've done a blues. We've done a minor key that started on an A minor or an E minor. And you see the difference between minor and major, I think you probably know by now, is that one in a minor key sounds sad, and then in a major key it sounds happy. So let's say we do one in a major key. We could do A major, D major, A major, and E major, right? Now so again, if we take a look at Ashley's hand here, we have an A major first, right? So I'm going to find the A. Let's see how it sounds, right? Remember 5th fret. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you see how it doesn't really tonally sound nice to the ears. It sounds a little bluesy, and it's not a bluesy song, right? So like I said, if it's in a major key, what you have to do is instead of putting your first finger on the root, the A, because it's in A major, I'm going to put my pinky finger there. Right? So I find my A, which was again on the 5th fret. That hasn't changed a thing, right? Put the pinky there, and then that means I'm going to start on the 2nd fret instead. And this is going to sound a lot better. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so again, instead of starting on the A, I'm putting my pinky on the A. So if we tried another one, and we tried C, G, C, and G, right? Again, the first chord is going to be a C, so I'm going to find my C, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C. Now I can't put my first finger there because it's C major, not C minor. I'm going to put my pinky there, which means I'm again starting on the 5th fret. So if we try that, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then that sounds great, right? So now you know how to solo on top of a minor key, a major key, and a blues, right? If you're soloing on top of something that has power chords, it's not minor nor major. There's usually going to be a key that's suggested, but you're not going to know that when you're just playing the power chord. So why don't you try both for that one at first and hope that one of them is going to sound good, right? So if we wrap it up, the minor key, we're going to start the root with the first finger, right, to the pentatonic scale. If it's a blues, we're going to do the same thing. Find the root, first finger, we're good. Major, we put the pinky finger on the root, right? So that's going to basically mean it's 3 frets back. And then if it's power chords, again, you're going to have to try both and see which one works best, right? So, and like I was saying, for this whole first exercise, I was doing just the first pattern for the pentatonic scale, but there are 5, and you should know them all, so that you could solo all over the neck, right? So go back, learn all the 5, make sure that you find out how to connect them, and you can actually use them all, and you're going to make a really killer solo that way. So, all right, and once you've got some of these leads, why don't you go try our Stairway to Heaven project? It's got some killer lines that you can take later on when you're trying to make up some of your own leads, right? You can borrow some ideas. That's what a lot of guitar players do. So try the Stairway to Heaven one out. Good luck. Thanks a lot, Ashley.